Welcome to Community Hotline for the community, by the community. I am your host, Mr. Bob Fang, and today we have Mariam. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I love your ukulele. It's so cool. So my name is Mariam, and I actually am very, very happy to share that I'm a teacher for ESL, and I teach online, mostly for Beijing, and it's the light of my life. It brings me a lot of happiness and joy and serenity and peace. I also teach for Vietnam, but they're mostly like teenagers to 70 years old, and it just brings me a lot of wisdom on how to handle myself responsibly with good, healthy boundaries.
I love that.
When I became a teacher, it's been 3 years. So.
Okay. Let's jump into the first topic of the day then, which is money. What is money? For the youth listening right now.
Ooh, I would definitely say money is an investment in their future and their choices for who they're going to be as a character. So be very wise as far as investing with your education with money. Don't necessarily just spend money on toys that will come and go. I would say, even helping out a community if they want to volunteer that money and spread it out and make way for people that are less needy or less fortunate as far as youths without parents go. So I definitely feel like it's an exchange for building character money for the youth.
Have you always thought about like that? How was your views of money changed?
Yeah, for sure. Because when my father passed away when I was 3, I had to start working at 16 because I wanted to help out my stepdad. And I saw, that there's a responsibility of being a human being at such a young age. And so I started to work and help out paying my car, my first car when I was 16. And it brought a lot of character to me. Like I knew how to go to high school and do my work and then take that time away and go to work and separate myself, structure. And then that structure brought character. And then I can take that to me right now that I'm 36 and put that structure and wake up the hours that I do for China. So it all works hand in hand.
I love that. What were you spending most of your money on back in the day?
I really didn't spend too much money on like things that I didn't need, but I was investing in opening up a CD. Actually, like remember CDs in banks? They were called CDs. I would start to do that and save up, and then give the money to my stepdad to help me buy a car. I if I went out to eat some sushi with friends after high school or have a Jamba Juice, I would pay for it or stuff like that. Yeah, nothing too extravagant. Like I was never a teenager that would go and buy Dolce & Gabbana bags and do stuff like that.
But the occasional sushi run would be cool.
Yeah, yummy. That tops any Dolce & Gabbana bag.
I love that. And what about now? What are you spending most of your money on now?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. So I invest in my students. I buy a lot of props and toys to be able to educate them. For example, I have like a little castle that's wooden, and I'll paint that with my students. So each student will choose a spot and tell me what section they want to paint it and what color. So I'll invest in artistic supplies and props like that. And I do, yeah.
Wait, so do the kids have it too? Like you send it to them or
No, what I do is I allow them to tell me what they want. So in the sense, I'm trying to practice them taking control of their lives and understanding what they like. And that kind of gives them a sense of identity.
That's really powerful. I can already tell you're probably like an amazing teacher. You got any what I mean, I know a lot of teachers, and especially some of them are super young, just right out of college, teaching like, elementary schools. You got any like money tip advice for new teachers?
Oh, yes. I would definitely say if you want to get double the money that you're making the first year, second year, third year, I'd say invest. That means allow the parents and the children to see that you are bringing something more to the table than just yourself and the education that you're giving them. So that can mean anything from activities to stickers to notebooks to even just, and when I say invest, it's not necessarily just money. It means like invest more time and energy than just the lesson that you're teaching. For example, I'll have notebooks. I have like 14 or 24 notebooks individual for individual students. And the investment is not just paying for it, but understanding. So Lucia is my student, and I would say, what's your birthday? So I can get to know them. So Lucia's been my student for 3 years now because she feels possibly that I'm understanding her and investing in her and drawing things out of her and wanting to give her more space than just reading English and learning the language. So she'll tell me her favorite color is blue. Her favorite animal is a dog and a cat. Her favorite food is fish. And then each page is different. On my days off, I would say, oh, well, Lucia likes a dog. So I'm going to go ahead and draw her a dog and bring it to the next class so she'll feel happy. Rather than say, okay, Lucia, please read the PPT and not smile and not make her happy, you know. So enlighten them a little bit with their spirit and say, oh, my teacher actually cares when my birthday is and what food I like. And she actually takes time to draw something to make me happy. And then my favorite part is like when it's a holiday, I'll do like sticker time. So I'll invest, again, that word, in, I'll have like pamphlets of like Lisa Frank, for example. I'll get it through Amazon too. And then I'll open it and then they'll tell me what they want. And then I'll just say, okay, well, let's make a happy Halloween card for you today. And then I'll just, you know, give them those treats and they'll choose it. I never try to take control of that situation. And then I think this is my favorite part, what I do with my students, but it's really hard to get that time in because I only have 40 minutes for each class. And so on my 10-minute breaks, I usually give them that time. I'll give them 9 minutes. But the admins in China says, oh, you don't need to give them any minute, really. You can just go on your 10-minute break. But I go the extra mile and I do story time with them, or I'll put like Harry Potter or a cartoon on so they can feel good. They can be like, oh, this is a reward I get for doing so hard, you know, hard work in the class. And so this story is called Elsa's Adventure by Lucia, and she chose the sticker. And she wrote, Elsa flies into the air. She sees many things. And then she chose a dolphin for the next page of the story. She sees dolphins jumping in the water. Elsa sees a horse playing with a fish. Elsa and her friend Jane go to the zoo. Afterwards, they decided to go to the forest. They went on an adventure. Continues. I don't know if you want to hear the rest.
No,
I don't think it's that long.
I love this. I think I don't think I mean, I think it's rare that you find teachers that, you know, go the extra mile with you. You know, like for me, my experience in education has usually been like teachers have ego.
Oh, that's been my experience too. I had teachers throw chalkboard erasers at students' faces. You know, hit me with speaker headphones on my head. I mean, horrible. They were all about their ego. They're superior. They look down on you. They put you in individualized groups because you're a bad learner and you're a bad learner and you don't know how to do this equation of math. So I'm going to put you in the lower group. That was my experience. So my passion comes out as everyone's equal and everyone deserves a chance at life. So I just try to make it fun. And
yes. All right, let's move on to the topic of the day. That was great. That was a great, awesome. I'm almost, you know, because you don't meet many teachers like this. I kind of just want to go into, you know, who were you in high school?
So who was I in high school? Wow. I was a really quiet, shy girl that would have a hard time socializing. I would go in my corner and just write poems. The reason why was because, you know, my father died. So that kind of shaped me into a very shy girl in high school. And I had a culture shock too. I'm Armenian. So I went to school from first grade to eighth grade to Armenian private school here in California. When I went to high school, it was my first year of public school. So I was really shocked. I was really naive. I didn't know there was certain things that was there compared to Armenian private school, where you go to church every day in the morning and pray to God and try to be this perfect person. And then, I had an older brother that would watch me like a hawk, and he would rat at me if I spoke to anybody out of the culture. And I had to only stick with 3 girlfriends or a couple of girlfriends from the school that I went to from first grade to eighth grade. So I was really controlled. I wasn't necessarily allowed to be. So the only way that I allowed myself to be was to become a poet. So I have at least like 900 poems now. And I actually share poems with my students, and I help them write poems, and I write poems for them too. And that's in their notebook as well.
Oh, that's amazing. So what about your, do you have one brother? Is that the only sibling you have?
I actually have 2 brothers. I have a half brother. My mom remarried after my dad died. So my half brother is, of course, younger than me, about I think 6 years younger. And then I have one older brother that's a year older than me. Yeah. So he was like, right. I was in 9th grade. He was in 10th grade. So I really was like stuck in high school. Like I couldn't even talk to like a black guy. Like it was like that. But he could talk to black guys. It was just, like I can't.
Yeah. How did you get through that? I mean, besides your poems, what would you say to like younger girls now who have, overprotective older brothers? How do you?
Yeah, overprotective, unhealthy brothers. And cultural suppression. Yeah, I would say find avenues to do something to deal with that anxiety and suppression and loneliness. Not only just poetry, but maybe talk to a counselor, seek family support group, therapists, rather than bottling your emotions and feeling alone and alienated from your family, community, culture, which is how I felt. It was very, very bad for me. So,
well, I'm glad you're still here. Making it through. Making it through.
Yeah.
What? Okay. So what about? Okay. So I want to hear about these teaching tips. Because I know when I started teaching, like I know control was pretty important. Like kids needed the structure and everything. So for new teachers, what are 3 tips you have?
To have control over the students, or just overall like 3 tips that will help them in their career?
I think, just 3 actionable steps. Like if it's like their first semester teaching, they have a classroom of,
Yes.
What is like the first?
The first thing that pops up is patience. Practice a lot of patience in your life before you become a teacher. Please do yourself a favor, because you'll have a great student that just folds their hands and is ready to learn from you and just looks at you straight and gives you undivided attention. Then you'll have those students that will put their foot in your face and you'll talk like this throughout the lesson, and you'll go away from the computer camera or the classroom and tease you. And so in the midst of that, just patience and and discipline. That's the second tip, because, and I don't mean discipline like, punish them and scorn them and tell the administration of the school and write a warning letter to their parents. No, not that kind of discipline. I would say be silly with them in your discipline, but a little bit stern, and tell them what boundaries you're going to take away from them. So I would, like, example would be, Princess Teacher Mariam is coming and her bell is telling you to stop. Because if you don't stop, then that means you're not going to get some stickers today. And if you don't get some stickers, that also means I'm not going to give you the special Harry Potter stickers that you can make a story with. That's too bad. Well, do you want that today? And if you say yes, then that means you're going to have to be quiet and listen. And there you go. So stuff like that. Don't do that, please. So, yeah, a perfect example. Okay, I'm going to take away the iPad if you don't stop.
Ooh.
So
We have extortion, and then we have threats.
threats, yes, good threats. So yes, patience, discipline. Third one, I would say enlightenment. Yeah, and that enlightenment can go deep. You know, it doesn't have to just be for their mind or their heart or their soul. I would say all around. So, for example, like how I start my class would be start a music video of a greeting video, like, you know, saying hello, or have Elmo and Katy Perry sing together and welcome them, have a welcoming environment, right? Right when they come into class. And then ask them how they are, you know, and then in that way, it gives them a sense of understanding, like, oh, my teacher is helping me enlighten myself by caring, welcoming me, talking to me, asking me how my day was, asking me what I did throughout the weekend. And then as you go throughout the class, modify it. If you're teaching about Coco the gorilla, like I did this past week, put a video through National Geographic about Coco the gorilla talking, right? So that's what I do. And that's enlightenment for educational wise, right? Because, oh, they don't know Coco the gorilla used to talk with sign language and understand, because the lesson would be about Coco the gorilla, right? But they don't necessarily put the video through the PPT. Or if you're a first time teacher and you don't have that in the class, you can go bring that from National Geographic and record it and bring it on through, you know, iPad, or, you know, there's so many different technological ways of bringing videos to class. And then as you go and get through other parts of class, I would say do something physical with them, you know, whether it's to paint something or stretch and do yoga. Say, okay, everyone, we did a lot of mental work. How about we take 5 minutes to do physical work and bring peace to our minds? And let's do a breathing exercise. So I sometimes do that. I do yoga in class with them, even though it's not asked of me to. And then I'll put like a yoga video and we'll practice yoga together and do breathing exercises, because it can get so intense when you're learning, especially a new language. You get overwhelmed. So I see a lot of my students do this. And I feel that energy, you know? So I feel like you're holding this energy ball and you want to keep that energy ball golden, you know, and you want to bring it back and forth, bring it back and forth. I don't just see it, it's education, and these are the words you're going to learn today, and this is a subject. I want them to be a whole person learning for that enlightenment for their heart, body, mind, and soul. So it's a different dynamic for me.
Are you an air sign?
Air sign? I'm a Libra. I think I am, right? Libras are air signs, yeah. So our Libras are really creative.
Okay. Talking about energy balls and stuff, and I'm sure the Chinese teacher would look at you like, no, they need to do math. They need to do math. You see these Chinese kids, they be going to school from like 7 a.m. to like 11 p.m. And like, they get like a 1 hour lunch break, and it's just school.
I've actually had positions of job offerings in China to go and live there and be a teacher. But, you know, I have a kid, so I don't know. It's a little bit hard. But that's my dream, actually, to travel the world and be a teacher.
You can definitely do it. I'm 100%. They always need teachers. I've been to, and not all schools are created equal. I mean, I'm sure you know that, but
yeah,
it's crazy how, just from talking to you about this whole education section, I'm just like, man, you're such an amazing teacher. No wonder, you know, all these kids do. Like you're going like above and beyond with everything.
Oh, thanks. That's very, very kind of you to say.
Of course. Let's move on to the last topic of the day, which is love. So let's ask the age-old question: what is love?
I think love is something you need to learn of valuing. If you don't have that value of anything towards yourself, towards your environment, towards your health, towards your mind, towards your spirit, towards your body, you don't know what love is. And if you don't know that value of anything, dealing with yourself first, then you don't know how to love. That doesn't mean you're incapable, or it means you have a lot of lessons to learn before you're able to love another thing or person or object or animal properly, not perfectly, properly. I've had so many lessons with that.
What are two defining moments in your life, and how do they impact you?
I think when I was 3 years old, I had a sense of self-love. And that was when I ran through the hallways to grab a doll for myself because my dad was very sickly in bed and I knew he was dying. So I felt my heart beat in my throat. And I collapsed on my knees and I grabbed the doll and I said to myself, everything will be okay. And then right before I entered the room, I said 3 very powerful things that usually 3-year-olds can't even think of. I said, be strong, independent, and responsible to myself. And ever since that, I've always felt kind of like an old soul because I defined my life with those 3 characters. Yeah, that was a defining moment. His death, my forming of who I'm going to be through his death.
At 3 years old.
At 3 years old. And then after that, I would pretend to be a teacher in my home.
Mom,
I would like put
we're doing this lesson today.
Yeah, I would do highlights, on my table, and I was 3 years old or 4 years old, and I'd put my like bunnies and like Mickey Mouse, and they would be my students, and yeah, that was a defining moment. I guess it helped me become a teacher now.
Wow. What your what was the other defining moment?
Oh, when I gave birth to my son, that was huge. I felt many parts of me died, and I became this new person. I literally became a teacher after he was born, when he was 2. I always had a passion, but my son opened the gateways of heaven for me, if that makes sense. Everything that I dreamed of happened after he was born. Like I wanted to be in a play. I got into a play. I wanted to do a short, tiny movie for fun at a playhouse. That happened. I wanted to be a teacher. I was a teacher with him coming to work with me in the after school program for half a year. And then I prayed to be a teacher and a little bit more of an in-depth teacher, right? Not just an after school program for toddlers and stuff. So, and then that happened afterwards shortly when he was 3. So he would fall asleep, right? My hours would be like 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. for China. And I was able to teach. So, but I prayed and then it happened. I got the jobs in China and Vietnam, and he was born in Chinatown. And now I live in an Asian community, St. Gabriel. So I feel my son opened up the doors for me to be accepted in a community of people that I never had before growing up. And I had to find my way. And my son's love and giving birth to him helped me find my way.
Are you married? Is there a dad, or what's the situation with that?
It's complicated.
Complicated?
Yeah.
Got it. And then
that needs Dr. Phil.
Yeah. What about your mom then? What's your relationship with your mom like?
Gosh, it used to be terrible. Because there was so much pain for her. And until I didn't become a mother, I couldn't really understand her pain. She had a lot of pain with, my dad when he was alive and her in-laws, right? But of course I don't see it when I was a kid as her in-laws. I would see my dad's family, my dad. But I never put my shoes, my feet in her shoes. The struggle of being a beautiful woman and getting disrespected, being hurt by a man continuously, and his whole family teaming up against her. Until that didn't happen to me, I didn't understand the value of her. And of course, that made my love grow deeper for her. And,
can you explain that a little bit more? Like elaborate a little bit more on that? On that whole.
Yeah. For example, when my dad died, my mom's in-laws, sorry, a little tired. My mom's in-laws took all the money. And when I was 18 years old, she came and told me, and I was bawling and crying afterwards. She said, your dad was sick in the bed, on his deathbed, and his will fell out of his hands right when he was going to sign it, and he died. And so all that, all the business money, the money, the house, everything, the cars, it didn't go to the two kids and the mom, the wife. It went to his family, and they wanted to control her. No, you can't remarry. No, you can't have the house under your name. No, you can't have the cars. No, we are going to tell you how to do this and how to do that, and you're going to live with us. Suppression. So, until I became a mother, I felt that in my own life. I was like, oh my gosh, is this what my mother felt? That compassion for her went through the roof. That love for her went through the roof.
I'm sure like there's I talk to a lot of kids and they have like troubles communicating with their parents.
Mm-hmm.
My mom doesn't understand me or my dad doesn't understand me,
Yeah.
Do you have any like practical advice on how to communicate better with your parents, or is it more like?
I had the same problem. I still have the same problem because she's a very loving, hardworking mom, but she's not very communicative, and it kind of runs in the tradition like of Armenians. Like they're just chop chop. I want the best food for you. I want the best clothes for you. I'm gonna go do this. I want to do that. I'm gonna do this. But they have a hard time to just kind of like sit down and go for a coffee and talk for 2 hours and walk in the park. So if you can accept who they are as a person, how they become from, their culture and their past and their upbringing, then you wouldn't have to like ride up against a turf that's going to swallow you. You would just kind of go with it. And even to this day, if I can't talk to a parent and I just wish I could, I would definitely turn to mentorship. I would ask children to find mentors around them in the community or through school, or if they're lucky like me, just find them that came in my life that helped me. Yeah.
And then how old is your son?
He's 5.5. He'll be 6 in May.
Oh wow, that's like starting first grade, right?
Yes.
Yeah. You got any parenting advice for the moms out there?
Oh gosh.
Top three tips.
Top 3. I love that. I love the top 3s. You do so much. Self-love first. Self-love. That means, have you taken your vitamins today? Have you worked out today? Have you taken 5-minute break and meditate? If you can hide in the bathroom and lock it and put on the shower and put your feet in it and soak with Epsom salt just to unwind. Have you eaten a salad? Have you made yourself feel strong enough to deal with the day? So self-love, unconditional love to your children. And that means, whatever comes your way, just be prepared to not stay in the aggression, disciplinarian mode only, just because children can do that to you. And the third one, I would say peace. Try to find peace. I know that kind of goes with self-love, but I think peace is a little bit more different than self-love, because peace is something you have to draw out in your mind, whereas self-love is kind of like action. You have to like eat to show yourself you love yourself, or you have to take your vitamins to show yourself you love. But in the midst of that, you can have like thoughts that are not peaceful, or you don't know how to bring that chaos to you. And so you have to find something that brings that peace to you so you can function, I think. And I don't know, I'm still trying to draw that out for me. I'm still trying to find my peace. So sure. I can't say I have the answers for that.
Well, you have the rest of your life. Your son will always be, here. So
yes.
Plenty of opportunities.
What's that?
I said plenty of learning opportunities.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it never ends.
And then, so before we wrap it up, do you have any last words for the students listening?
Yeah, I think if the youth is not so hard on themselves and start learning how to love yourself, you don't learn how to love yourself in school. They don't teach you that. They do teach you a lot of other great things. But I think self-love can go deeper. I think the discipline and waking up every day and having that motivation they may lead you to the water, but they're not going to make you drink it. So I'd say understand how to drink the water while your teachers lead you the way. And that can mean making structure for yourself every morning, finding a way to deal with some sort of pain that you're dealing with, not just coming to school and smoking or doing drugs. Never go into that. So because there's so much peer pressure in school. So that self-love has to come from that innate voice inside. So
well, thank you, Mariam.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course. And then also, before I forget, 88 Real Estate Media is looking for members to join the oversight committee for the school in the world. Send us a message if you're interested in more. Mariam, where can they find you if people want to reach out for like mentorship?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, Mariam Hermann, and I'm also on Facebook, Mariam Ash. I changed my last name to Ash. Excuse me, on Facebook.
All right, guys.
Patience.